Hi, this is Ann D'Angelo from WonderStrange, and in this video I'm going to show how to do a chart or a graph that has multiple colors in the same row. So in this case, I'm going to use my pattern or my graph for a crochet square of the Jesus from The Big Lebowski. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I've already done my first two rows, which are just in gray, and then I had to bring in both my beige or my skin tone yarn and my purple. So what I'm going to show you now is how I work row 4 here, where I've got the purple and then I'm also going to bring in the black for row 5. Okay, so this is my front. So I'm going to do my turning chain, and I mentioned this in my last video, but I'll just stress it again. I'd like my colors to be, my color changes to be obvious on the back, not on the front if I can help it. So in that case, it's easy. I just pull them around. I single crochet around on top of them. I'm going to be following my chart here. My dark lines show blocks of 5 stitches, so I know that I need to do 5 gray, and then on this 5th stitch, I need to change over so that I can continue with the purple part. So that's my 2nd gray. 1, 2, here's the 3rd. And I'm just carrying these the same way I carried this single yarn. It's just that I've got 2. And one other thing I should mention, these are hidden pretty well, and part of the way that I'm achieving that effect, so you can see from the front, you cannot really see the yarn too well. You'll notice I'm working with a G hook. And that's part of the reason that that's working there, even though I'm carrying 2 yarns, because I've sized down my hook a couple of times. This is a standard worsted weight yarn, and my guess is that it calls for anything from an H to a J. So I've gone down to G. Okay, so, and now this is the stitch where I'm going to change color. So I started in the gray. So I've got my 2 loops now on the hook. I pull my gray down, I pull my purple in. And then that takes over. Then I consult my pattern and I see I've got purple for the next 6 stitches. So again, I keep them right here in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 5. And then this 6th is where I'm going to change color to my beige that I'm using for my flesh tone. Again, I pick that up when I've got 2 loops, pull that through, and then I see from my graph I've got to do 3 stitches, so I go 1, 2, and I'm just holding these here with my thumb. I do 3, and then again when I've got my 2 loops, I'm going to switch back to my purple and pull that through. Now I am going to tug that down a little bit because it got a little bit away from me. And now I'm crocheting in the purple. And I can see from my graph I've got to do 6 in that. I do recommend when you do this that you use yarns that are all the same weight. It might seem like a good idea to make your main color a bigger yarn, but then the problem is that your other yarns can get lost. So let me just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I need to change colors there. So when I've got my 2 loops on, I pull my gray in, and then I'm going to finish the row in gray. And last stitch. Okay, so now this is the back. Here's the front of my work. So now things are about to get super crazy because I'm going to bring in black, because in row 5, if I just bring this back in row 5, I'm working this way, and I'm going to be bringing in his ponytail. So I like to bring in the yarn at the end because I don't like to have a lump in the middle of my work. But if you don't want to bring it in until later, that's okay too. I'm going to do my turning chain, and instead of doing the way I did before, where I turn the work over and then I keep this in front, I want to pull these in from the back and over. So now I'm going to bring in my black yarn, and in a section of video that you did not see, I just made a really classic mistake. So I want to warn you about it because I don't want you to make the same mistake. When I bring in my black, the temptation might be, oh, I'm just going to lay this over. Sorry, I have to kind of scoot it under my gray yarn. I'm going to lay this over and put the tail in front of you and the yarn behind you. The problem is when you get down here to switch to black, you're going to realize, oh wait, I don't have my yarn, I have my tail. So even though it seems kind of counterintuitive, you want to make sure that you're bringing in the yarn and that the tail is what's hanging off the end, not the yarn itself, or you will be sad. Okay, now I've got 3 yarns, but I'm going to hold them in the same way with my thumb here. And I'm kind of using my middle finger to hold that black down in the back until I get it secure there with the first stitch. So I've got 8 stitches to do now. Okay, so now I'm on my 8th stitch where I'm going to change color. Once I have my 2 loops on the hook, I will switch over. The graph tells me I need to go to purple next, and that I need to do purple for 3. So there's 1 and 2. And on my 3rd, I'm going to change color. So again, my 2 loops on the hook, bring up my beige or my flesh tone that I'm using, bring that in, and I'm going to do beige for 3. 1, 2, and on this 3rd, I'm going to change color again, back to the purple. This time I'm only going to do it for 2 instead of 3. It's no longer perfectly symmetrical on either side. I'm going to bring my purple in, and I'm going to do the first stitch, and then the second. I'm going to bring up my black, which I'm going to do for 3 according to the chart. So his ponytail covers his shirt there. There's 1, 2, and on the 3rd, now I'm going to change back to my gray. Now, on this graph, for the Jesus, I'm going to be done with the purple until I get up to the very top where we can see his hair. He's got kind of a kerchief and a hairnet, so we'll just call it his hair thing, because that's super technical. So when I get to the end of this row, I'm going to stop carrying the purple, just to make my life a tiny bit easier. To do that, here I've got my work, and so I've clipped my purple. I will do my turning chain. And because I'm turning over to the back of my work, I can just bring this with me like this, do the first stitch, and proceed. So now I'm turning this over, and you might be thinking, hey, didn't you just get rid of that purple? I did, but I'm going to crochet over the tail so that I can then just snip it and be free of it for a while. I need to do now 8 in gray. And this might feel like a tangled mess, but just keep cool. It all works out. And then I'll clip the purple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'll change back to the black. Oops. And I'll get rid of that purple, because that should be enough room. I just give it an extra little tug. Sorry, that black really wants to be the star there. It's trying to get in my way. Okay, and now my purple is free. Free! And then I will pick up my purple. I'll bring it back in up here in row 20 on the chart. But otherwise, I'll just keep crocheting the same way I'm doing. When I get up to row 14, I'll bring in the white. And that's all there is to it.